Literary comprehension poem. We are dealing with the poem tested in English paper 2 question 3, which basically tests students on the literary aspects. In this lesson, we shall strictly focus on features of style. How to read a poem. Make sure that you internalize the title. The marks provide hints and clues. Make use of the punctuation marks. If used, they are there to guide you on how to read and interpret the poem. It is also wise to understand that you are not reading a prose. Pay meticulous attention to the diction employed in the poem. Examination tips. Go through the poem to get the general understanding of what it is all about. Critically analyze the title. In most cases, a title can give you a clue, hint on the subject matter, content, and theme, message of the poem. Study the questions carefully and critically. There are some questions that act as eye-openers. This may help you grasp the connotative, deep, and denotative, surface meaning of the poem. With an in-depth understanding, do the second reading of the poem. Read the poem intensively and extensively. Try to get the deeper meaning of the poem. You also need to underline the insights and revelations that strike you as you read the piece. Examination tips. When answering questions, take note of the following. Don't give hanging answers. Fully illustrate your answers with strong and cogent illustrations from the poem. When answering questions on stylistic devices employed in the piece, identify the styles. Make clear and candid illustrations from the poem. Explain the effectiveness of the device, its importance and essence in the poem. When asked to explain the meaning of a particular line in a poem, avoid using the same words that have been used in the poem. Learn to use your own words. This will show that you have a thorough mastery of what you're explaining. Examination tips. Make sure that you fully understand the keyword S employed in the question, before you get puffed up like billows of smoke to answer any question. Such words include comment, suggest, explain, identify, illustrate, etc. When you take note of such words, you will in turn answer the questions appropriately, effectively, and efficiently. If a poem has a connotative meaning, symbolic, metaphorical, or allegorical meaning, be careful on how you answer the questions. Don't mix surface meanings with deeper meanings as you respond. Figurative language. Figurative is derived from the word figure, which means shape, form, or picture. Figure may also mean impression or imagination, as in figure out something. Therefore, all forms of artistic expressions which require our minds to think, imagine, or form expressions are referred to as figurative language. Figurative language entails use of imagery and figures of speech. Figures of speech. These are literary devices which make language to be understood at a level above the literal. They are used to impact and enhance force, color, clarity, and beauty. Examples. 1. Paradox, oxymoron. 2. Rhetoric questions. 3. Apostrophe. 4. Euphemism. 5. Use of local dialect. 6. Hyperbole. 1. Juxtaposition, contrast. 2. Irony. 3. Satire. 4. Sarcasm. 5. Synecdoche, metonymy. 6. Rhetorical questions. Imagery. Styles that create mental pictures. Imagery is the use of words and phrases to appeal to our senses. Imagery is creation of mental pictures through use of images. Through imagery, writers intend us to see, hear, touch, taste, and smell things and situations, as writers themselves do. Styles that create mental pictures. Similes. Metaphors. Symbolism. Personification. Vivid description. Hyperbole. Metaphor. A metaphor is a direct comparison. It is a condensed simile. A simile uses as and like to compare, but a metaphor compares directly. Example. John is a lion. Example. Youth. Youth is petals. Fresh and rosy it is a carnation's radiating color it is wind. Wild and free it is legs strong and long it is a smile without a care Susan Kigley. Simile. This is a figure of speech in which a similarity between two objects is compared through the use of as and like. It is in direct comparison. Example: as strong as an ox. Example: a man of words. A man of words and not deeds is like a garden full of weeds. And when the weeds begin to grow, it's like a garden full of snow. And when the snow begin to fall, it's like a bird upon the wall. And when the bird does fly away, it's like an eagle in the sky. And when the sky begin to roar, it's like a lion at the door. And when the door begins to crack, it's like a stick across your back. And when your back begins to smart, it's like a penknife in your heart. And when your heart begins to bleed, you're dead, and dead, and dead indeed. Symbolism. Symbolism is the use of one object to represent, suggest another. In literature, the use of symbols and emblems in writing, particularly the serious and extensive use of such symbols. A cross on top of a building symbolizes church. Mercedes-Benz may symbolize opulence or wealth. A ring symbolizes the covenant of marriage. Purple color symbolizes royalty. Symbolism. A white dove is a symbol of peace. The president is a symbol of national unity. A national flag symbolizes sovereignty and national unity. A newborn baby or a rising sun might symbolize hope, a new beginning. A setting sun, on the other hand, may symbolize disillusionment at the end. Water may symbolize both life and death. Fire may symbolize both destruction and purification. More on symbolism. A symbol can therefore be defined as something, usually physical, that represents something else, usually abstract. When objects, actions, events or gestures represent something beyond themselves, they are known as symbols. Poets employ use of symbols in their compositions. The stylistic device in which a poet uses symbols is referred to as symbolism. Why do poets use symbolism? Why do poets use symbolism? Symbols are physical objects that represent abstract entities. By employing symbolism, the poet makes abstract concepts concrete. This makes it easier for the reader to understand the message. Example: when a son is born. When a son is born, he is cradled in bed. He is clothed in robes. Given a jade scepter as a toy, his lusty cries portend his vigor. He shall wear bright red kneecaps, shall be the lord of a hereditary house. When a daughter is born, she is clothed in swaddling bands, given a loom whorl as toy. She only takes care of food and drink. Commentary. When a baby boy is born, he is dressed in robes and later given jaded scepter as a toy. The poet has employed symbolism. The scepter and the robe are symbols of power and authority. On the other hand, when a baby girl is born, she is dressed in swaddling bands and given loom whorl as a toy. The poet has again employed symbolism. A swaddling band is a symbol of ordinariness. A loom whorl is a symbol of domestic work. The poet uses symbols to contrast the treatment of boys and girls in the society. Boys are given preferential treatment and are expected to grow up to be leaders, elders and rulers in the society, while girls occupy an inferior position in the society. They are expected to grow up to be submissive and subservient, domestic workers. Personification. This device endows animals, ideas and inanimate objects with human form, character, or sensibilities, the representing of imaginary creatures or things as having human personalities, intelligence and emotions, e.g. clouds are pregnant with rain. Whistling poverty. She wore a talking dress. The sea waves wrestled mercilessly. The sun was playing hide and seek with the clouds. The mountains were kissing the sky. More on personification. Personification is used to highlight an idea, to create striking descriptions and to give the reader a fresh view of what is or are otherwise commonplace things. Personification has the power to make an abstract idea easy to picture. It can also be used to highlight an idea or mood. N.B. When non-living things are given feelings and emotions, that becomes pathetic fallacy, e.g. the crying stone of Kakamega. Example. April Rain Song. Let the rain kiss you. Let the rain beat upon your head with silver liquid drops. Let the rain sing you a lullaby. The rain makes still pools on the sidewalk. The rain makes running pools in the gutter. The rain plays a little sleep song on your roof at night. And I love the rain. Langston Hughes. Commentary. The poet has employed personification. Rain, which is a natural phenomenon, has been given human features. Rain has been given the human ability to kiss. Hyperbole, exaggeration. It is a style which involves exaggeration of ideas for emphasis purposes. This can take the dimension of overstatement or understatement. Examples. I am dying of seeing you. I am dying of shame. She has been to hell and back. He is so big that I fear he may not fit on the TV screen. Why do poets employ hyperbole in poetry? Poets employ hyperbole in poetry in order to emphasize a concept and hence pass the message more forcefully. Example. Alone looking at the mountain. All the birds have flown up and gone. A lonely cloud floats leisurely by. We never tire of looking at each other, only the mountain and I. Li Bai, China. Allusion. Allusion is a reference to a well-known person, place, thing or idea. Like other types, allusion is a perfect way of creating a word picture. If you referred to a schoolmate as Martin Luther King Jr., William Shakespeare, Julius Yego, Mother Teresa, you will give the listener an immediate mental picture of what you are saying. A poet may refer to a biblical, historical, mythic, literary person, place, event, or moment that he expects the reader's to be familiar. Example. The age of innocence is gone. I confess I've never met a Chinese who looks old. But I'm told he'll really look old. Antiquity and China are twins. Don't confuse Confucius with Buddha, though both are sages. Oriental ancient. I woke this morning to find Abraham Lincoln down and George Washington lying. Martin Luther King speaking on the ground, a statue. Tabin Lo Liang. Paradox. This is a statement which contradicts itself. Examples of paradoxical statements. A. Fear gave me courage. B. In politics, bad publicity is good publicity. C. I'm a pregnant virgin. D. In media fraternity, bad news is good news. Imagine that your cat is critically sick. You call a vet who decides that best thing to do is to kill it in order to save the cat from further agony. This is a situation where the vet is being cruel in order to be kind. This is a good example of a paradox. Example. My heart leaps up. My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky. So was it when my life began, so be it when I shall grow old, or let me die. The child is the father of the man. And I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural piety. Commentary. Line 6 of this poem has a statement that contradicts itself, a paradox. The statement is, the child is the father of the man. Oxymoron. It is a condensed paradox. It brings together two contradictory words. Such a contrast creates sharp emphasis, e.g. A. Bittersweet. B. Love-hate. C. Eloquent silence. D. Holy witch. E. Bright night. F. Dark day. G. Poor millionaire. Irony. This is a figure of speech in which the actual intent is expressed in words which carry the opposite meaning. There are three major types of irony. A. Verbal irony, when what is said is directly opposite of what is expected. B. Situation irony. In this case, the happenings and occurrences are directly opposite of what is expected. C. Dramatic irony. In dramatic irony, the audience knows what the characters in a play drama don't know. Example. War is kind. Do not weep, maiden, for war is kind. Because your lover threw wild hands toward the sky and the affrighted steed ran on alone. Do not weep. War is kind. Commentary. The words war and kind obviously do not collocate. War is possibly the most callous, unkind, human act. It means mass killing and destruction. The persona then can only mean the opposite of war is kind. Therefore, we see a lot of irony in the poem. Satire. Satire is criticizing human weaknesses in a humorous way. This is a literary manner which blends a critical attitude with humor and wit to the end so that human institutions or humanity may be improved. The true satirist is conscious of the weaknesses, frailties and fallibilities of various systems. So, he jeers them hoping that they would change for the better. Example. At the Labor College. They are busy with seminars on the origins of the hyacinth, on the lifestyle of the hyacinth, on the effects of the hyacinth and break. For a few course lunch at Sunset Hotel. Example. Erudite papers. On the comparative history, the ecological patterns and behavioral parallels on the budgetary levels and supplementary provisions on the cooperation requisites from the local populace in a future time frame from the evaluative seminar they break. For 6-course dinner and merited wine. At Sunset Hotel. Commentary. This poem is about a group of experts who have convened to discuss the problem of hyacinth at the Labor College. They are mocked because their specialized knowledge does not help in coming up with practical solutions. They just discuss irrelevant issues. The people plagued by the hyacinth face starvation because their source of livelihood has been encroached on by hyacinth. We laugh at their keenness to feast on elaborate meals, a 5-course lunch, and are disgusted at their lack of concern for the dry mouths of hunger-stricken beings at whose expense they benefit and enjoy. Apostrophe. This is where the writer addresses an object like the sun, or talking to a dead person. Apostrophe is where we address a non-living thing which cannot respond as if it were a person. For instance, a poem may address death as if death were listening. In other instances, natural phenomenon e.g. hills, mountains, lakes, etc. may be addressed. Example. Prayer to the young moon. Young moon. Hail young moon. Hail, hail. Young moon. Tell me of something, hail, hail. When the sun rises. Thou must speak to me, that I may eat something. Thou must speak to me about a little thing. That I may eat. Hail, hail. Young moon. A prayer from the Bushman of S.A. Hesitation marks. This style is employed by the poet when he wants to introduce a pregnant pause or a break in the poem. Usually, hesitation marks helps in a. Creating suspense since the pause marks an interruption in the flow of ideas. B. It indicates the speaker's uncertainties in saying something. C. Hesitation marks indicate incomplete statement or thoughts. D. They may also be used for emphasis. Pauses in poetry are introduced by a. Use of hyphens. B. Use of ellipses. C. Continuous dots.